This video will cover information on Spain, which deals with our new monarch chapter and exploration. So you can see here, this is the typed outline that we're going to use to complete that information on letter F, Spain. And then we'll be moving to the Holy Roman Empire as it pertains to this chapter on the new monarchs and exploration. So again, if you're not going to print this out, then just refer to it as you take notes on this recorded PowerPoint. When we take a look at the new monarchs for Spain, we focus in on these two strong kingdoms of Aragon and Castile. These two Spanish kingdoms are going to unite Spain under Christianity, specifically with the marriage of Ferdinand from Aragon and Isabella of Castile. So again, the importance of this marriage was to unify Spain under Christianity and specifically the Catholic Church. So we're going to take a look at how Ferdinand and Isabella, as the new monarchs of Spain, are truly uniting the country for everyone to follow Catholicism. So when you study the new monarchs of Spain and you give the examples of Ferdinand and Isabella, they are new monarchs for consolidating their power and uniting the country under Christianity, specifically Catholicism. So now we're going to explain how they did this. First, you have what is called the Reconquista. So on your typed outline, you see a little a. What is it? Here is your information. The Reconquista, this is Spanish soldiers who are reclaiming the land for Spanish Christians. What happened was, instead of there only being Christians in Spain, you have Muslims and you have Jews. And so the goal of the Reconquista, these Spanish soldiers, is to reclaim that land for strictly Spanish Christians. So they want to remove any of the Muslims who have not converted to being Christian, or any Jews who haven't converted to being Christian, kick them out of Spain. It says right here, if they are willing to convert to Christianity, they'll be allowed to stay. So the Moors are your traditional Muslims who live in Spain. They're called Moors. Moriscos are Muslims who said that they've converted to Christianity, but there are some suspicions if they really have. They're called Moriscos because originally they were Moors, but now they're saying they've converted to Christianity. So their new title or their new group are called the Moriscos. And then I've told you about the Jews. So that's the goal of the Reconquista, to remove the Jews as well as the Moors and Christianize Spain. Well, as you can see here, the last stronghold for these Muslim Moors was the city of Granada. Granada is located in southern Spain. And again, this was basically the last man standing when it came to the Muslims in Spain. So with the surrender of Granada, you have the success of bringing Spain under Christianity. You can see this interactive map here going through all the different changes. Also, make sure you add on your little b that the loss of Jews and Moors resulted in the significant decline in the middle class. So we know that the middle class, Jews and Moors, they were skilled businessmen. And since they are being kicked out of Spain because they're not converting to being Christian, that's going to hurt the economy. So your skilled businessmen are no longer there, and that leaves job vacancies that aren't necessarily filled. And y'all, we're talking, you don't have to write this number down, but we're talking between 30,000 to 60,000 Jews expelled from Spain. And they are known for their banking and finance skills. So that's going to hurt Spain's economy. But where we have an economic decline, we have religious unity. Because, like I mentioned, the Reconquista is successful in uniting the country under Christianity by expelling these Muslims and Jews who refuse to convert. The next example of how Ferdinand and Isabella are uniting Spain under Christianity, specifically Catholicism, is mentioning the Inquisition. The Inquisition is a church court whose goal is to seek out or locate heretics. Remember, heretic is someone who goes against the church teachings. I accidentally skipped over this map, so I just wanted to show you it represents the Christianization and unification of Spain. So again, you can see this is the result of the Reconquista, and you can see all the different transformations, the different years of bringing Spain under Christianity and uniting the entire country. And you could see Granada was the last of the areas. Back to the Spanish Inquisition, we know that the monarchy will enforce the authority of the national church, specifically the Catholic Church. So the monarchy is basically telling everyone, when it comes to religious matters, you are going to follow the Catholic Church and their authority. Now, politically, the king and queen are in charge, but religiously, everybody knows that they have to follow the Catholic Church teachings. So this Inquisition is going to specifically target a group called the Conversos in Spain. These are Jews who had converted to Christianity, but who are suspected of practicing Judaism. So it's basically the Muslim version of the Moriscos. Moriscos are your Muslims who said they've converted to being Christian, but there's some suspicion that there was some backsliding to practicing Islam. Well, the Conversos, again, is the Jew version of the Moriscos. Those who say they've converted to Christianity, but are suspected of practicing Judaism. We've mentioned the Spanish Inquisition before and talked about how notorious they are for their questioning of these people and how many of them are going to be either killed or exiled. We know that the Inquisition's actions will begin a wave of anti-Semitism, not only in Spain, but other parts of Europe. Remember, we talked about the Rome Inquisition doing something similar. So to recap your information on Ferdinand and Isabella as new monarchs, they consolidated their power to unite the country under Christianity, specifically Catholicism. And how they did that was through the Reconquista and the Inquisition in Spain. We also know that Ferdinand and Isabella will make sure that the Catholic Church does make necessary changes. There is no Reformation in Spain because the monarchs are going to address any concerns very quickly and make sure that there are necessary changes. So you might want to keep that in mind, that this is the reason Spain will not experience a Reformation. And that is something that both France and Spain have in common. Neither country turned Protestant during the time of the Reformation because both governments worked really hard to get rid of the abuses and any kind of opposition to change. We are finished with the new monarchs in Spain, and now we're moving on to letter G, the Holy Roman Empire, with the Habsburgs specifically in power. The Holy Roman Empire is going to be different from the other countries that had new monarchs. So pay very close attention to this section so that you know how different it is from France, Spain, and England. The Holy Roman Empire consisted of 300 semi-autonomous German states. Here's what I mean by the semi-autonomous part of this statement. You're going to want to write this down because it is not on this slide. Each state had its own foreign policy. I'm going to repeat that. Each state had its own foreign policy, and wars sometimes occurred between the states. Again, let me repeat that. Wars sometimes occurred between the states. So the whole sentence should read, each state had its own foreign policy, and wars sometimes occurred between the states. Then I want you to add, the center of Habsburg power was in Austria. The center of Habsburg power was in Austria. And what I'm going to do is cut over to my map so y'all can see where I'm talking about. So you can see this is a map of Europe in the year 1500, which is about the time period we're studying. And this area outlined in red is the Holy Roman Empire. So you can see it's a large area of Europe, and you have here the center of the Habsburg power in Vienna, the capital of Austria. This map shows you the breakdown of those 300 German states that make up the Holy Roman Empire. So you can see how complex this truly is with all of these different states that are again almost operating as independent countries. You know, what's kind of keeping them together is a Holy Roman Emperor. So more about that person in just a moment. If you look at your number 2 under letter G on your typed outline, you will see it say that the Holy Roman Empire was not, I repeat, all capital letters, not a new monarchy. And here are the reasons why. Again, you need to write this down. The emperor did not have centralized control. The emperor did not have centralized control, and then I put a comma. He could not levy taxes, or raise armies outside of his hereditary land. Let me repeat that. Could not levy taxes or raise armies outside of his hereditary lands. So basically around Austria. Next, I want you to add this statement, that the Holy Roman Emperor was elected by a council. So you could put HRE, Holy Roman Emperor, was elected by a council of 7 members made up of nobles and archbishops. Elected by a council made up of nobles and archbishops, 7 members of nobles and archbishops. So that tells us that this Holy Roman Emperor, not being able to really centralize control and bring all of these 300 states under his control, failed to develop a strong monarchical authority. Because in each of those individual 300 states, you have a prince or a noble who makes the decisions. And then the Holy Roman Emperor really is, partially in power. So when I ask for examples of new monarchs, the countries, you're not going to give me the Holy Roman Empire. And you're not going to give me these specific emperors that we're about to go over. All right, so I'm going to stop this video and continue the information on the Holy Roman Empire in the next video.